Okay, so today we're going to be reviewing some auto catchers, and I've got 7 of them here to review, and I've actually used most of them fairly extensively so I can give you a real user experience. I'm not being paid by anybody to do this, and I've used most of them for at least a month, in fact some for a lot longer. So what is an auto catcher? Well, an auto catcher is a device that automatically spins, stops and throws red balls, straight red balls, not curved red balls, at Pokemon that it spots when you don't have the app actually open in your hand. Some basics of all these gotchas is they only stay connected for around about an hour, and then you have to reconnect. And the catch rate is much lower than if you were throwing normally or a normal curveball. They're around about 40 to 60%, depending on how lucky you are. And the rate doesn't really move much between the devices. There's not one that I've found that catches more than the others. It is faster than catching Pokemon manually because you skip all of the animations. I'd say about 5 seconds per Pokemon, but it really comes down to when you can't play the game. For instance, when you're sitting in a restaurant or driving, I think that's where these things really come into their own. They do prioritise catching Pokemon over spinning stops. So if you're driving, you might end up like kind of spending an awful lot of balls. And spinning stops takes around about the same time with them as it would if you actually manually did it yourself. Another thing that when you're driving, occasionally you'll see the Pokemon, but it won't see them in time, so you'll miss it completely. So unless you're driving slow, you actually potentially lose a lot of catches as you're going. So we should start off with the first one, and I'm going to start off with the official Pokemon Go. This is the Pokemon Go Plus that originally started it all. It's backed by the Niantic and the Pokemon Company. It's a device that you can either clip onto yourself, or you've got a little wrist strap here that you can put it on that's pretty cheap and awful. And when it lights up, you press it and it will throw the ball or spin the stop. A flashing blue LED means you're near a Pokestop. A flashing green one tells you that there's a Pokemon nearby. You can buy little clips to put on them as well, so you don't have to press them at all. When it goes multicolored, that says that you've got a successful catch. It's powered by a CR2032 battery, which lasts for a very long time. And, you know, it's not too obsessive. The wrist strap is pretty disgusting. You know, but the actual thing itself is not too bad. You can slip it in your pocket and you don't have to clip it on so you show that you're a Pokemon geek. I quite like it. I think it's nice. It's nicely made. It's better quality than a lot of the other ones. And I think there's lots of plus points for that one. Moving on, we're going to move on to the Pokball Plus. So this was mainly made as a controller for Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, but it also has a plus function as well. So you can press the joystick button, the little B button, and it allows you to spin stops and catch Pokemon. Unlike this one, the Pokemon Go Plus, it is rechargeable with a USB-C, and it does last for a really long time before you need to plug it back in. And there is a USB-C cable that comes with it that just plugs into a normal USB. On the whole, quite like this, a little bit bulky, a little bit too big for me, but you know, a nice, authentic, proper Nintendo item, and you can tell that it's kind of really, really well made. So we're moving into the Code Junkies Dattel Gotcha. So this was kind of the original that started a lot of the craze off. I know the Plus came before, but this was the one that auto-catched. You didn't need to clip on. Released in 2017 by Dattel, which is a local company to where I live. It was trying to improve on the Pokemon Go Plus. It's based on a very cheap Chinese fitness tracker that they've loaded with some software to mimic the functions of the Plus. The key difference from the Plus is that it has a little screen that lights up so you can actually see what's going on a little bit, and you don't need to press the button to spin the stops or catch the monsters. Just as soon as you're in range, it will auto do it. I think this was the one that started the whole thing with catching Pokemon while driving, and I really do like it. It's a rechargeable. The battery lasts for 3-4 days. I've actually heard of some people getting a few weeks out of it who don't use a lot of it. There is another model of this called the Ranger, but I am not reviewing the Ranger. I did buy one in the past and it lasted a few days until it fell apart. It was a really cheap construction, not very durable. It had a mobile phone charger part on it that really charged your phone for about 10% and then died. I couldn't bring myself to review that one. The latest edition of the Dattel Code Junkies is the Evolve, which is this one. The Evolve is a wrist-worn device, which is not quite as ugly as the wrist one of the previous Gotcha. And it is a fitness tracker as well. It's much larger, it's a lot heavier, but it feels a lot more sturdy. I feel a little less conspicuous wearing it in public as I did the wrist strap for this one, you know, or walking around with this one, for instance. It does have the screen is really interactive and I really quite like the animations on it. You can really see what's happening without having to dive into the phone. And it's just single touch button that you can kind of go through, you hold down to achieve things. It's charged with a USB port. It is a little hard to get that thing off to charge it into the USB, but once you get used to it that you're not going to break it, then I've had it last for quite a long time. I've had like a week out of this one. It isn't waterproof, as I found out when I fell in a swimming pool, and it died on me straight away after it touched the water and it didn't work. Has a pedometer in it as well, which I've tested against my Apple Watch and actually pretty accurate. It does do its stuff. So we're going into something that is a little bit more unusual here. This is the Mega Pocket Catch-em-on Egg. Don't know if you can see that there, but this is a big boy. And it does require you carrying a child's egg around in your pocket. Now, it's in your pocket a lot of the time, but you do have to reconnect it, and you're getting that out in a restaurant, you do look like a little bit of a weirdo. It does come with a clip that you can kind of clip it onto things as well, so I clip it onto your bag. But again, I'm 46, so I don't really want to have this clipped on. It takes two AAA batteries, lasts for an age. You do not have to put batteries in this one very often at all, and it is a really long-lasting Gotcha. So moving on to the Megacom Dual Catch-on. So this you don't have to wear. It slips in your pocket just a little bit easier. You do also have a little keychain thing here. You can put it on your keys. But what it doesn't do compared to the others is it actually works with two devices. So when I used my old character, I would have both of my accounts on my two separate phones connected to the same Gotcha. It's pretty ugly, but it does run on batteries which last forever. I guess the down point is it doesn't have a screen, which kind of sucks. I would really, really like it to have a screen. So moving on to the Makiki Pocket Egg. Another egg. I don't know what the obsession with eggs are. I know there's eggs in Pokemon Go, but I don't really need to carry an egg around. Another one that works on batteries. This works on two AA batteries and lasts for around about 2 to 3 months. Very simple, very light, but not cheap at 60 quid. And it does feel like a cheap bit of nasty plastic. There are occasional connection issues when I've had it. I've had to reset the connection a few times with it. I mean, all of these are not perfect with the connections, but this one I seem to have a little bit more. Unlike the other ones as well, you can't turn off things like auto spin or auto catch. You have to have catch and spinning on or off. There's no choice with that. And last but not least, the most unusual one, I think, this is the Brook Pocket Amulet. At least it's not an egg. It's a little fabric pouch with some Chinese writing on it there. There's no wrist strap. You're meant to kind of tie it onto something, but it is so light that I just pop it in my pocket. Charged via micro USB at the bottom. Charges in around about an hour and a half, and I've gone 3-4 days without having to charge it. It is super light, super small, and I think well worth the investment. So I'm going to give you my top 3 in descending order. I'm going to start with number 3. I'm going to go with the Evolve. If the connection issues were sorted on the Evolve, this would be the number 1. It is light, it is easy, it is not super conspicuous on your wrist, but there are connection issues with it. I like that it has its home charger, that you don't have to carry a cable around, you just plug it in a USB. It's super easy, but those connection issues definitely push it into number 3. In number 2, I'm going to put the Jewelmen. And just because of its uniqueness, The dual catch, you can have two devices, and I know there's a lot of people who do run alts and end up with two phones. I've seen you out raiding, so I know you exist. And this is just beautiful that you can run two, or even better, you can run a friend's. So if you're with a friend in the restaurant who keeps getting out their phone to catch Pokemon, you can say, let me join you on here, and they can auto catch on there. So I do like it, and I also like, it's not super big, it's not as big as this egg, and it does fit in a pocket, so that's my number 2. But one that I use every day, I've been using every day for the last 4 or 5 months, is this one, the Brook Amulet. It is light, it is easy, it isn't particularly ugly. I mean, it's not pretty, none of them are pretty, but it's not super ugly. And I think that for value for money, this is great. I've not seen a ton of them in Europe. I fell on this in a weird place in a shop in Stockholm that you wouldn't expect to find it. And I've really been taken with it. So this is my gotcha of choice. What's your experience with all these gotchas? Do you use a gotcha? Are you tempted after watching this video using a gotcha? Please comment below. But until next time, what are you still doing here? Let's go Pogo.